It's not starting.
It just started.
Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Real Game Media Podcast. Today we have a massive lineup of games to discuss, both released and upcoming, along with debate number 3, which will decide was the launch of the Switch a success or not. Our new segments that are dedicated to game-related movies and shows, along with everybody's favorite whinge and moan session, What Grinds My Gears. But before we get into that, let's introduce everybody. By now, you should all know me. I'm Bella Ryse. I'm the editor-in-chief and director at Real Game Media. We have joined us today again, Julius Malco, another director of RGM.
Well, live from the internet, it's RGM Live.
With us today, we also have Sam Tolbert, one of our senior writers.
Hey, everybody. What's up?
That was inspiring. We have the BAFTA award-winning Mr. Christian Allen himself.
Hi, I'm famous.
Apparently. We also have returning again, Mr. Anthony Ascue, our resident funny man, who apparently is on mute right now. So moving along to our special guest, Mr. AnchormanV. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me on. I'm glad to get the invite.
You are most welcome. So today we're going to be having a bit of we're going to start today with a bit of a chat about what we've been playing, and then we're going to move on to the games that have just released and what's upcoming. So let's start with you, Julius. What have you been playing lately apart from The Division?
I downloaded Steep last night, and because it's free this weekend, so I'm having a blast with that.
That's it?
Yeah. Well, I was tiling my bathroom, so, you know, I have a limited amount of time this weekend.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, that was a great start. Thank you. Sam, what have you been playing?
Okay, so
please tell me you've been playing actual games, like more
I've
than
been
one.
playing
Come on.
games. Fear not.
Okay.
So there's been a bunch of stuff. Halo Wars 2 came out a couple of weeks ago. I've been playing a bunch of that. I absolutely love it. Fantastic campaign, fantastic multiplayer. You wrote a fantastic review of it that people can check out on the website. I'm absolutely loving it. Then I've been playing a lot of Gears of War 4 because they've added some new maps and a bunch of new skins lately, and they're adding another really big skin pack. Like, it's going to be like 50 different skins, new and older ones. That's going to come out next month, I believe. So I've been playing a lot of that multiplayer, re-upping. And then I've been playing this tiny little game called Horizon Zero Dawn, which may or may not be threatening to consume my entire life. I imagine you're going to have a lot more to say about that, but some infuriating quirks aside, I absolutely love it.
Fantastic. Yeah, I got some strong views on that game, but let's not get into that right now, or we won't get through the rest of the podcast. Christian, a little birdie told me that you're actually playing something other than Fallout Shelter right now. Is that true?
Yeah, believe it or not, I've played a game that is not in the Fallout franchise this week. I want to give a shout out, actually, to Southbound sent me a code for Ghost Recon Wildlands. And so I was playing with some of the Xbox community guys and actually some of the Xbox devs, and had a blast. It's a lot different Ghost Recon, but it's I don't even know if I'd call it Ghost Recon, but it was fun. It was really easy, but really fun in co-op.
How do you find that it fares up against Grawl, for example, that you actually helped design and develop?
Well, it's just a kind of a completely different beast. I mean, it's got elements from previous games, like some of the sync shot stuff from Future Soldier. It's actually a lot. It was funny. I was talking to some of my other buddies, and it was very similar to a pitch that we made back in, gosh, it would have been like 2007. For a more open world jungle based Ghost Recon. But I think just playing it feels more like a Division in the jungle, really, than more mission based, because it's the standard new Ubisoft formula where it's big open world and you go to different places and kill different people over and over and over again. Got very similar to some of the other open world games. So like I said, I think where it's going to shine is in co-op, having that big experience. You know, everybody getting into the helicopter and then me crashing into the side of the mountain was fun. That's where it's going to shine, is in that co-op experience. So, but the main, a lot of the difference is just kind of how it is definitely not a hardcore tactical shooter. It is a third-person open world, fun shoot dudes game, and it's that's good because you can jump in with really everybody, and it can come down to just like all the bad guys have red dots on them. Just keep shooting the red dots until they go away, and then you win.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a slightly one of the lots of feedback that I've had about Wildlands is that it feels like a slightly more polished GTA 5?
I have to agree with that.
In like the open world aspect.
Yeah, I think it feels like that. The driving and stuff isn't as good as GTA, but I mean the landscapes are beautiful. Like the way that you can look out and see the scapes and the amount of foliage and stuff that's rendered. It's really visually quite good. Aside from some animation jankiness and some character jankiness especially with the customizable characters. I ended up with this I don't know, I was just kind of randomly clicking around and I ended up with this female with like 1982 camo, and her face was all stretched out and stuff. It was kind of odd.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, it's fun. It's a good game.
Yeah.
Did they fix the helicopter controls? Because in the open beta it was kind of janky.
I don't know. I was crashing a lot and laughing hysterically the whole time. So
okay, so that's exactly what happened to me then. Yeah. When we did our stream with Julio, oh my god, that was awesome.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So Anthony, I can see you roaming around on your camera there. Is your mic back? I'm gonna take that as a solid no.
I can see his mouth moving, but. I've got him in Facebook
see the
chat.
words, but I can't hear them. All right, you deal with that. Anchorman, why don't you tell us about what you've been playing lately?
Well, after a brief, short 20-minute trip to Canada, I ended up having a bunch of...
Did you get turned around?
Well, it's a really weird story. I was with Sam, and 2 years ago, I had some weird jankiness going on where I got like a Canadian gift card. And I had to change my region on Xbox to Canada, so I thought I had to do that in order to spend it. To realize I couldn't do it because I couldn't buy what I wanted because I had to spend more money, but I had to have an address there. And it was this weird thing, so I moved it back and thought that currency was gone. Because apparently they don't just – ever since they changed from the point system to the actual currency system, they're not transferable against regions. So I was told that currency is gone. I was like, oh, that's stupid. So for 2 years, I thought I had like 45 Canadian dollars just gone. Until I had another issue earlier when I was pre-ordering Mass Effect. And I realized they said, yeah, you have $45 in Canadian credit. I was like, really? And so I went on a buying spree of small indie games. I was like, all right. So I bought Firewatch, Inside, and Abzu. Just some good little achievement games. Had a good time.
Selection.
So I played all three of those. Enjoyed them, completed them. A really good time. I'm currently playing Wolf Among Us. I just started that. And I'm not a big fan of Telltale games, really. I don't like the gaming setup. For me, I would rather just watch a show or watch a movie. I would much rather do that than play a game. I like watching the interaction, not having to worry about, there's going to be a QuickTime event here. For me, at least these kinds of games. Now I'm a big proponent of storytelling games. I just don't like the current Telltale setup. But
that's fair enough. I like to reserve my Telltale experiences for my Vita. Purely because I find the analog sticks on the Vita to be quite clunky. They're not very responsive when you're used to a proper controller. So games like Telltale's, they fit the Vita perfectly.
And it
Plus, that way
justifies
you actually
the
have something to
existence.
play on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it justifies the existence of your Vita.
Well, there's that. I mean, it's great for checking my emails. I can do that on there. I do like my Vita. I like the fact that if I am stuck somewhere, like, if you're in a doctor's office or if you're on a long trip or, you're forced to sit around waiting for whatever it might be, you can just pull your Vita out of your handbag or your pocket or man bag or whatever it might be, and you're gaming instantly on the spot. So I find that.
And you're not running down your phone battery, so that's good too.
There is that. Because I do enough of that as it is. So. All right, we're gonna try and see if we can hear Anthony one last time before we move on. Nope. All right, we're gonna move on. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of the game section of this. Mass Effect Andromeda. Who watched, and I assume you're all gonna say, yes, I did, the launch trailer that was just released?
Of course I did.
Because you said I had to.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. I watched it at least 4 or 5 times.
How good is that? Like, that it took my level of hype for this game from like exceedingly high to, oh my god, give it to me now.
I've tried to stay away from most of the gameplay footage that they put out there because I want most of that to, remain secret, but I did watch this. Did anyone else get very strong Mass Effect 1 vibes?
Yes.
Like with the overall mysteriousness and the expansive, okay, this is a brave new world, brave new galaxy. You have no idea what you've stepped into here. It's not the established presence that 2 and 3 had. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it
exactly.
really harkens back to that exploration theme. So I really hope I'm going to fall in love with it. I really do.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because I've been watching it a lot lately, but it really reminded me of The Expanse. I don't know if you guys have seen that show, which if you haven't, you should. It's like the best sci-fi TV show out right now. But it really had that kind of mysterious vibe to it, I thought.
Better than Stargate?
The show that's out right now. Not best science fiction show ever. I just mean one currently like on the air.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified because that was a
basis.
broad statement you just made.
Yeah, it's very, very good. The Expanse is very, very good. It's got an excellent diverse cast and it's really good hard sci-fi.
Awesome. So I see that Mass Effect Andromeda is also the multiplayer will be getting free post-release maps. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Has anybody pre-ordered?
I have. I'm just waiting for them to take my money.
Yeah, right. I'm one of those people that I hate. Actually, I probably shouldn't admit this, but now that I've started down that road, I'm kind of going to have to. I actually have a countdown timer on my phone when Mass Effect goes live.
Wow.
Yeah. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for it. I mean, obviously, we're going to be we're going to be doing full coverage of Andromeda as it comes out, and we're lucky enough to be reviewing it early. So you guys will be able to come back to the Real Game Media website and check out our thoughts and what we think the game does well and maybe doesn't do well. And oh my God, we have an Anthony Ascue in the house.
Is there volume?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you.
You guys can hear me?
Both.
Oh my goodness! I swear to God, it's like Obama planted some sort of a wiretap on my shit, and they've been on to me ever since. And I've been living on edge. I don't know what's up, but I'm here now.
Yeah, we can see that you're doing the whole sitting in the dark with an armadillo hat on thing right now.
It seems dark, but all the lights to my place are on that side of the of the place, I guess I would say, right? And there's no middle lights. Like whoever designed the lights, this place is just not familiar with how lights should work.
It's probably a vampire.
So this is what I have.
That's inspiring. That's inspiring. So before we move forward anymore with our talk about Andromeda, you missed the opportunity to tell us what you've been playing this week. So why don't we let you do that?
Still Gwent.
You've been playing Gwent for 8 weeks.
At this point, I'm pretty sure I have destroyed this barkeep at this inn. I've pretty much taken all of his iron, all of his whatever material he has. I don't know if he was saving that up for something, but he's definitely out. Like after a while, they just stop giving you cards and you just get random loot, and it's been nothing. Like he's just been giving me, oh here, look, here's a scrap, Here's some linen. You want some linen? Like it just keeps progressively getting worse and worse. Yeah. I mean, it's not my fault he has a gambling problem, and he can't control himself.
You're literally going to take this.
Know your limit, play within it. Know your limit, play within it. I'm just trying to feed my family.
So that's it, Gwent. You've been playing Gwent.
I've been playing Gwent. Yeah. I picked up an old phone. My work gave me this phone. They're like, hey, you're gonna go to this little mini tour. If you don't, there's gonna be crazy roaming charges on your phone there because like the area, it's like it's still in Canada, but it's like apparently it's right by the border. So like it counts as long distance. So they're like, here, have this. Use this company phone. And the phone they gave me was like this like Motorola Razr 90s phone, and it had Snake on it. And I've been playing Snake, and I was like, wow, here's a classic game that you can't mess up, and it's still great. It's still great. Snake, fun times are had.
Wow, you know what? You and Julius should exchange phone numbers. You two are kindred souls.
Brother from another mother.
Old games. Yeah. Oh my God!
Well, you guys saw they're releasing the new Nokia, and that's their big thing. It's got Snake on it.
It's got Snake. What other phone has Snake on it? Like that's a dying game, right? That's vintage now.
I think BlackBerry's even dropped Snake.
Right? Wow. Like that should be in every phone. I don't know why they got rid of it. Like here's the thing, developers, it still works. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they haven't updated it since like 1995 because it's perfect.
They can't figure out how to monetize it.
They can't beat it.
On Snake.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we start reliving too many of our endless hours wasted in use on bosses playing Snake, Middle Earth Shadow of War gameplay that has been revealed.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Go at it. Tell me about it. Tell me all about it and why you're frigging excited as hell for it.
Shadow of Mordor was the surprise hit of 2014. I was intrigued by it whenever I first saw the trailers. I think that was back in late 2013. But there was a lot of, misconceptions about exactly what was going to happen in the game. And I don't think many people, certainly not the general audience, actually thought the Nemesis system was going to deliver. And if you've played it, lo and behold, it actually does deliver. Sorry, what was that?
Everybody thought it was just marketing stuff. It was like, oh, this is just buzzwords. Yeah. This isn't real.
Exactly. And then it's like, no, the big armored, heavily armed warlord who you see in the beginning, he might not actually be your nemesis. It might be this random mook who somehow clobbers you 30 times in the row in the exact same battlefield at the exact same spot and ends up chucking poison spears and makes you throw your controller. But it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So I love Shadow of Mordor. And seeing that they're evolving the Nemesis system and taking it not just from the Uruks, but, to your general army and these fortresses and these dynamic events that can happen, I couldn't be more hyped.
Yes, damn you.
Yeah, so basically they banked all their money on people love it when they get revenge on other people. So if we just put something like a tracker system where when someone wrongs or kills you, you can get that specific person. It would be like if you played any video game and you get killed by some random NPC, and then the next time you load up, that NPC got like a promotion, and now he's like a character, and the story revolves around that NPC. You get really pissed off with that NPC. Like you'd want to go back and like destroy that NPC's life and just like ruin them. And that's what they built the entire system on, and it works because people love revenge. Revenge is great.
It's a great motivational tool. You get really irritated.
Yeah, absolutely. Anchor, you were going to weigh in on that. What were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed playing that game. I would even argue Shadow of Mordor is probably one of the best games of this generation. Like,
right.
Something that don't really see.
That's quite the comment.
I really enjoyed that, and it was something where I think Sam brought it up first, saying it was a sleeper hit. It was a surprise. It came out. What was it? It came out around the same time as like Forza Horizon 2.
Yeah,
and September or October 2014. I can't remember.
I just remember
it's still Lord of the Rings game, right? So you're gonna have like if you're doing like a movie license with a popular like movie or whatnot, you're going to have somewhat of a safety net in terms of like development, gains on that, right? Like, it's not like it's a random IP with like new characters. No one knows any of the lore. Like, you're going to attract some crowd because it's Lord of the Rings. So it's not like a complete sleeper. Like, there had to be some expectation that this would sell somewhat. I don't think anyone
think about it. Licensed games don't work. How many licensed games have actually turned out well?
In terms of sales, Star Wars Battlefront was pretty good.
All right, let's not all talk over the top of each other, gentlemen.
Well, the key difference with Shadows of Mordor, both in development and marketing and launch, is that it was specifically designed not to be a licensed tie-in. So while it was part of the licensed
based on a movie, that's right.
Yeah, it wasn't tied to a movie, and that's why they could continue, because it was delayed a bunch. So they could continue to work on it and not have the standard Marvel game that it has to come out with the movie and oh god, all the Iron Man games suck. Because they only had 9 months to work on it. So they could continue to iterate on it and make sure that it was a really good game. And it was a long development cycle. It was in development for...
Did you say all the Iron Man games suck?
Yeah.
Like all 2 of them?
Yeah.
like all 2 Iron Man games?
I was talking more movie license games in general, like the Fantastic
Four.
And there's only been a couple solid ones. Even the Batman games were specifically, not tied to the movies, and they did the comic book Batman, so that they didn't have to be linked in with the movie release schedule.
Except Batman.
Yeah. Would you consider what about that Wolverine game? Wolverine, is it Origins or whatever? For the 360/PS3, that was a really good game. Was it Ravensoft or?
Yeah, that was the
what's it called? That was quasi based on the film franchise, and that was like really friggin' solid. Like they knocked it off the ballpark.
Or Spider-Man 2 from back on the GameCube PS2 era. Oh my god, still the best, by far the best Spider-Man game.
Oh, for sure.
Wait, what are you talking about? You're talking about Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 from back in the PS2 era.
Excellent. Yeah.
Oh my god.
But those are the exceptions,
but wait, I haven't played that game recently. I played it when it first released. Does it still hold out well? I don't think it does. I think it was just the best because that was the first game to introduce open world and stuff.
It is still the best web slinging mechanic they have ever done. They have tried and they have failed every other time to replicate it. You can't do it.
And I love the direction this conversation's gone in, but how about that Shadows of War?
Well, so everyone saw the gameplay, right?
Yeah.
The Christian, I think that you have like a personal sort of attachment to this particular franchise. Would you like to tell us a bit about that?
Well, yeah, I actually worked on some of the early versions of what became Shadows of Mordor at Warner Brothers. So I was at Monolith and Snowblind and Surreal, which were all merged together into Monolith in order to focus on Shadows of Mordor. So I worked with Peter Jackson, went down to New Zealand quite a bit down there. And it was an interesting property to work on. It's interesting where they landed because I was one of the big proponents for the Middle-earth branding to move away from because originally it was supposed to be a movie tie-in. But then, of course, the movie got changed to 2 movies and then into 3 movies as, Peter just got whatever he wanted. And so
no animosity there.
Yeah, well, and that it turned out good from the game because the movie kept shifting around early in development. It basically gave the development team and the production team the excuse to kind of detach from the movie and no, this isn't I remember having arguments about who's going to want to play a Hobbit game where there's no hobbits. I'm like, nobody wants to play a Hobbit. We're not going to play a Hobbit. That's no Hobbits. That's not going to work. And so it's let's brand it Middle Earth, and then it can just be a Middle Earth game. And that's what they've done. And I think that was a really smart choice because now that Middle Earth brand has that kind of stamp of quality, and they can branch out if they want to do another RTS or something like that. They can expand in there. It also gives them a little more freedom to go into that expanded lore that everything doesn't have to be sourced, directly out of the books. Right. Because there's a lot of weirdness around that too, because there's multiple license holders and different books are licensed to different people, and it's all really complicated. So
yeah,
but yeah, I'm really and I got I got a lot of friends on that team. So I shout out my creative director, Michael DePlatter. I worked with him at Ubisoft. I worked with him at Warner Brothers. And a lot of the Monolith guys are all great guys and gals. So I'm happy that everybody's really enjoying it.
That's the beautiful thing about Warner Brothers right now. They're sitting in a very interesting position. They have all these movie franchises that they have rights to make games, and
thanks to
be
DC.
great. I mean, look at Mad Max. Like that was another sleeper hit for me. Like no one was expecting that game to do anything at all. And I would even argue that.
Was the first
was Mad Max a hit though? Like I like it. I actually bought the game myself. I have the game. Did it sell well? I'm not sure how it sold.
I would argue it was better as a complete package. It was better than Metal Gear Solid 5.
Wow.
Metal Gear Solid 5 is
Chapter 2.
Yeah. Well, It's got cars. I like cars.
It is a classic Mad Max storyline. Like that's the thing. And yes, it was.
I didn't like I didn't like the on-foot controls. I wasn't used to that. The like the whole like I understood why they made the controls the way they were, because shooting wasn't the primary there. But it just felt weird to me. Like it just goes against any other third-person control scheme that is out there. So it made the driving fun because I love driving and upgrading the what was it called? The something Opus, whatever the car was called, Maximum Opus or something like that. But it made every mission where I was out of my car really tedious. I just didn't like that. And with Metal Gear, there wasn't any part of any mission that I didn't like, whether it was just being on horse or in a vehicle or in a car or on foot. I felt comfortable and everything felt familiar and really self-gratifying. Right, I can't say that with Mad Max. There are a lot of parts that were self-gratifying. I love the art style. The graphics are okay. I love the driving. I love the sound of my car when I upgraded it. I got a kick out of getting the latest parts for it and the latest upgrades and this and this. But anything that had to do with not being in the car sucked. For me.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. And again, Christian, I think you probably have some very solid opinions on Mad Max.
Yeah, I worked on that one too.
Yeah, evidently. It's like every game we talk about, he's like, I worked on that.
I worked on that. Yeah, I worked on that. The great thing that turned out about Mad Max was actually when I started, I actually got hired to work on Mad Max, and we were going to do it internally in Seattle. And for a variety of reasons, we were doing some prototyping and stuff, and it was kind of decided a lot due to Shadows of Mordor that we were going to outsource it. So I was on the outsourcing team, not outsource it, but have an external developer work on it. And we flew all around the world and met with all these different teams, and they gave pitches. And everybody had their slide decks and everything. Well, Avalanche, who was a developer on Just Cause, basically took Just Cause, and instead of having a presentation of what they were going to do, they put the Mad Max car into Just Cause and basically just drove around and blew a bunch of shit up in a desert environment. And we were like, okay, yeah, you guys get to make this. This is awesome. And obviously that was back in 2009. So yeah, just choosing that developer that had been, taking that tech from Just Cause and building it out in the Mad Max environment was pretty cool. I also got to work with
tech.
George Miller on that.
It's a decent tech. Like their Avalanche is really good. I think they're one of the more underrated studios when it comes to the tech that they use. Because I remember when Just Cause 2 came out and how pretty the freaking the graphics were. I remember I was in a boat one time and I was just kind of driving the boat and I could kind of see the sun glaring over the waves and whatnot. And I was like, man, this looks really, really nice. There were a lot of things that looked great about Just Cause 2 at the time, and then even Just Cause 3. There's some things that look nice about it. The thing that really bothered me about that studio is, again, they're just, again, I don't know. I'm partial when it comes to third-person games where you have a gun. Left trigger is aim. Yeah. Right trigger is fire. We've established that. And that scheme works. It never has not worked. There has never been a game that's been implemented where that doesn't work. Nobody wants to click left stick or right stick to aim. That's ridiculous.
Very true. Very true. All right. So I think we've established that everybody is excited as hell for Shadow of War.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna graze quickly over some Destiny 2 stuff that's come out. I think that for a lot of people who follow Destiny very closely, this is old news for them. But for a lot of people who generally don't tend to spend all of their days on social media, this might be a bit of a shock to the system. We were initially told, and we already know that the marketing from Bungie was extraordinarily convoluted when it came to what you could and could expect from your 10-year experience from Destiny. I think a lot of people are finding themselves in a very distraught situation now.
You know what you could expect? To give Bungie your money. Just keep giving them your money every single time. That's what you can expect.
Bend over.
Yeah, wow. Now, a lot of people are finding themselves in that position when they find out that their character is not going to actually carry over into Destiny 2.
Well, their character is, right? Just not the loot.
No.
Which is the entire freaking point of the that's the entire want of your character going over. It's ridiculous. So my hairstyle and my eyes are carrying over, but none of the things that I spent countless hours on carry over. But thank you for getting all my blemishes. I would really hate to have to go to the menu screen, have to redo which blemish I'm going to put where in my face. I didn't want to have to go through that again. I'm so glad you have my back, Bungie. Of all the things that I didn't want to have to redo, it was where to put the blemishes and which hairstyle I want.
Yeah, for some reason I didn't think that would go over too well with gamers.
No, and it's not. It's causing quite a stir for people that have been playing Destiny religiously since it came out. Not to mention the people that not only bought the game initially, but then when the DLC came out, you weren't able to buy just the DLC. You had to buy the game again. So you then repurchased the entire game, which you've already bought and already own, in order to play the DLC. Then had to buy more DLC. People have been dedicated. They've been loyal to this franchise for a long time now, under the guise that this was a 10-year plan. We were told you buy this game and you were going to be able to play it for 10 years. And the messaging was terrible. And now that they've come out and finally started to give details about what you can expect from Destiny 2, they're like, well, I'm pretty sure you already figured this out. So this isn't going to be any new news to you, but, you're not going to. And they're like, you what? Mm-hmm. What? Did you just say nothing's going to carry over? So, yeah, that's a bit of a rough one.
There's nothing they can. Here's the thing. There's nothing they can do to make up for this other than just releasing the game and hoping the graphics look nice enough to pull people back in. That's it. It doesn't matter. There's what do you call those? Accounts where if you had the game before, you get certain little things that normal. It doesn't matter. That's basically pre-order BS, anyways, right?
Like Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly, right? It doesn't. It doesn't matter anymore. There's nothing that company. The way they advertise it was so terrible. There's nothing they can do short of just releasing the game and hoping for the best at this point. They can't. They're not going to get back in anyone's good graces. They had a 10-year plan. That plan was they're going to release games and we're going to pay for it. That was their plan. And if they were honest with that plan, I think we'd have just been okay with it, because that's what Madden does. That's what Call of Duty does. That's what every yearly franchise does. And they don't say it's a plan. They just do it. We're used to it at this point. Bungie could have done the exact same thing with Destiny. Nobody would have batted an eye. But because they said, we have 10 years and you can play this and blah, blah, the lifespan, everyone just has assumed all of these things, and they never once corrected it. And they knew damn well what people were saying about it, and not a single person said, nope, actually, guys, it's this. They use that to sell, and that's what really bothers me about it, is they used false information made by people that were misled to help sell a copy of their games, and they not once corrected anybody.
I think it's fair to say, Anthony, I think it's fair to say that they have lost a lot of goodwill, and that even thinking optimistically, they are going to have to do a lot to make up for this with Destiny 2. They're going to have to really impress people.
I think mainly with Destiny 2 is that their main market now is probably going to be people that are looking to come into the franchise, as opposed to people that have felt like they've been slapped in the face for the last 3 years by Destiny.
Well, and they did say, I mean, and I don't want to get too deep into stuff with Bungie, because I got a lot of friends at Bungie, but
just to remind you of that as well.
Their reasoning that they stated, and I'm not arguing for or against this, they did state that one of their concerns and one of their decision-making process was that new players wouldn't want to play if they were jumping into a game that everybody else had, hundreds of hours worth of stuff.
Exactly.
So
And
the same that they said that.
Basically, here's the situation you're going to run into. Look what happened with Taken King when Taken King came out, and people who didn't buy it. Your stuff was garbage. Everything you had was horrible, and so all the year one stuff was just horrible, and you basically had to forget about it. I know they fixed things a little bit later, but it was way too late for people.
Who are they marketing to with this new group of people that they're looking to get in with this new? It's not as if like nobody bought Destiny. That sold a whole bunch of units. Like, where is this next generation of new people that haven't? Like, you know what I mean? Like who else is left that hasn't bought Destiny at some point in time?
I don't think
who's left? The people that don't want to buy Destiny because it's not their game. Because it's not just a mindless shooter where you can just play for 20-minute spurts and have fun. It takes friggin' forever, and raids take this much. Destiny is a game that, like, if you really think about it, demands so much time. And not a lot of people have the type of time that it takes to really play a game like Destiny. They can't possibly appeal to anybody else that doesn't already have Destiny, or people that are getting into that genre slowly. But there's no niche crowd that they're not trying to get to. Like, who else is left?
Well, we have 3 years worth of new gamers that have come into the industry since the release of Destiny, so there's that. But we also have a whole heap of people that were discouraged by Destiny a long time ago, that if things are marketed correctly, if their marketing isn't as convoluted and it's clear about what you can expect, and they release really good CGI,
those people already bought Destiny. Those people that were burnt out by the marketing already bought Destiny.
They can be won back.
I'll probably buy it a third time.
Sure, so you're trying to win. Okay.
No, if Destiny 2 ends up being as good as what it looks like it's going to be, I am one of those people that continues to get sucked back in by Destiny 2. I will go through spurts where I will pay for months.
Of course it's going to look as good as it's going to. It's always going to have great graphics. It's always going to look amazing. The production value is always going to be high. There's no that's like Michael Bay making an action movie. People are going, well, I don't like any of his other action movies because they're really stupid, but if this one has really good CGI, then maybe... Of course they're going to have good CGI, but it's still everything else about the movie that you hated the last 3 movies, it's still going to be the same about this game. This is not like a Call of Duty where the default standard is people coming in and buying it. Well, of course I will. 100% I will. But
that's not what I was going to say. You need to shush for a second because I can't make my point, and I need to make my point.
Okay.
My point is that if all your friends are going to go and watch it and talk about it, you're going to be more inclined to go and watch it and talk about it as well. The people who are going to end up getting Destiny 2, regardless of whether they had Destiny 1, that had big issues with whatever went on or however they released the DLC, are the people who jump on that had a great time playing Destiny with their friends and see all their friends playing Destiny 2, and they'll be like, you know what, let me go and get that Destiny 2.
Okay, that's your point?
It's an important point because a lot of people will buy games based on the fact that all the people that they like to play with are playing said game.
Yeah, you made that point the first time. That was your point? Okay. So here's the thing you have to keep in mind. It's not that your point isn't bad. Like, it's a very valid point. People do that. That is the nature of the beast for games. But those type of gamers, they're already going to buy Destiny anyways. That's not the market that Bungie's after. They're after more casual gamers that don't have time to play Destiny. They're after the guys that'll buy Call of Duty and will play Call of Duty literally 30 minutes for a week. They'll pop in, play 1 or 2 games a day, and that's it for multiplayer. Like, those are the only people left. Gamers, like real gamers that just buy a whole bunch of games because we like them regardless of what genre. If our friends are playing this, we're going to play this. They already bought Destiny. Destiny hasn't lost that crowd. They pissed off that crowd. I'm sure they'll be back. That crowd will be back tenfold when the new trailers come out. But there's no other crowd to market to. This whole, well, if we release our sequel and all the stuff carries over, none of the new guys are gonna play against these. What new guys? Destiny's not that type of a game.
Do we know that though? We don't know the type of game Destiny 2 is going to be.
I think it is.
Sorry, can I just interject this really quick?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
We don't. All of this is meaningless talk right now, frankly, because we don't know what kind of game Destiny 2 is going to be. That's just the reality of it. Can someone please tell me? Some concrete details?
It'll probably be an.
I didn't think
No one
so.
has any concrete deals now.
Well,
Exactly. So
I can't see them
think
changing the
even
genre
with
too
the
much. It's
goodwill
gonna be
that
the
has been
same.
burned, I think at this point the best
Will
thing
be
we can
fair.
do is just wait and see. And I say that as someone who Destiny burned multiple times. Okay?
The one thing I wanted to point out was just the fact that, okay, you look at a situation like I am that model they want to come back. I got Destiny 1, never paid for DLC because I said this is garbage. I don't like this. I don't like how they're handling it long term. I didn't like it. And so as a result, they are trying to get me back in the game. And if they were to start bringing stuff over from the past, like basically past House of Wolves, Rise of Iron, and Taken King, if they were to bring that stuff back, I would be so underleveled. And it's basically a punishment for not playing more. You should have played more. And so any sort of bonus they could give would have to be nominal cosmetic crap. Think about, imagine Call of Duty. What if Call of Duty had decided, well, you've been around long enough, you now get a decided bonus against new people. Away from the fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of the day, the big issue that a lot of people have with this isn't so much that they have unrealistic expectations about should they or should they not have the ability to have their character with all of its status and all the stuff that you've been working towards carry over. It's more the expectation that was initially put forward about it being a game that they would be able to progress through, and initially we're told with the same Guardian for many, many years. The way that they went about that marketing was a tad sneaky. Yes, you can keep the same Guardian, as Anthony said, with all the blemishes in the correct spot, but you're not going to be able to retain any of your progress that was made. And that, I believe, is where a lot of the issue is coming within the community at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's the main issue.
But
They
Anchorman
were.
does. Sorry, Anchorman's got a point though. Like, you can level up your character in multiplayer in Call of Duty, but when the next edition drops, you don't carry that stuff over.
Yeah, but Call of Duty doesn't say that you're going to, though. They never made the promise of like, hey, we have a 10-year plan, Call of Duty players. You get freaking soap. You're gonna play soap for like the next blah 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 blah. Right? They didn't do that. When the next Call of Duty drops, we accept it as a fresh game. We accept starting over. Nobody accepted starting over when Destiny came out, and of course, there's going to be a pros and cons list of advantages. Whether you're going to give these players excess XP to make them more powerful than the new players, et cetera, et cetera. But the big question you have to ask yourself as a developer, if you're developing the game and you're like, okay, if we promote or advance the players that played the games before, that spent hundreds of hours or whatever, and give them a huge advantage over like the newcomers, will that piss off newcomers? Probably, 100%. I'm not going to deny that. The question is, though, what's a bigger fan base for you? Said newcomers that had no idea what Destiny was, or bringing back the people that either got Destiny or people that were going to get it anyways, like the core gamer demographic that Destiny revolves around? Because that's their audience.
People you pissed off, people who like didn't want to deal with this crap.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that we're just talking about whether our characters will or will not carry over from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 has created such a heated conversation between a lot of us. Just goes to show how much impact that game had on us, how much we did enjoy it, and how much hope that we had for the way that it was going to progress instead of putting us back into this grind out. And we went and did that because we wanted to be able to be as powerful as everyone else that we were playing with and be able to, make Oryx eat his own words. But and we have this conversation, everybody's just getting like all heated and passionate. So that's a really big testament to just how great Destiny is and actually could be. But before we invest too much more time in Destiny, let's move on to the next subject, or otherwise we're going to be here for an hour. Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's start with who here has not yet played Horizon Zero Dawn.
Me.
I haven't played it. I don't have a PS4.
You guys
but
are missing
from what
out.
I've seen,
So good.
What I've seen, oh yeah.
So just
Polygon told me it was problematic, so I decided not to play it.
Oh no!
You must have been talking to an Xbox because it's not problematic.
No, he was talking to Polygon, but
All right, so
apologize.
again, I don't want for us to delve too far into this because we've touched on it in the last podcast as well, and I know that everybody's probably been Horizon Zero Dawn out. But for those of you who have been playing it, and let's start with Anchor, because obviously you're playing it, is that right?
I have played it. I do not routinely play it. I have way too much stuff going on right now.
What are your thoughts on what you have played?
I played about an hour. I wouldn't be able to tell you when it was. I just know that I got to play it for about an hour. My brother came home for spring break, and so he came over to brag because he got a pro, and he was all excited about it. I was like, oh my gosh, you got to play this game. So I started playing for about an hour, and it was fun. It looks great. I was very impressed. This is a quality game.
Would you say that it's visually one of the most spectacular games you've ever seen on a console?
Yes, I would say that, and part of it is a small thing. I was reading an article about it too. I was trying to figure out what is it? What makes it look so good? I think it's the super sampling that really got me. Doing graphic design and stuff from time to time, you find a good 4K picture in particular, and you scale it down, and it just looks better for whatever reason. And that's one of the little quirks I really just like looking at least on the Pro.
It just looks smooth. The lighting looks incredible.
Yeah.
And the small details too, whether it's the way the grass kind of moves or when you slide, how you interact with the world, like everything about that game just looks really polished and smooth. And the one thing I can confidently say about that game is like PlayStation with that IP, they have a new character. You know what I mean? Like they got a new Nathan Drake for this generation.
Oh hell yeah!
Because it's such a great visual look. It's a very polished game. It makes me wish that it was cross-platform because it just looks amazing. Everyone should be able to play that game because it's really, really a great game. And in my opinion, it's a killer app. If you don't have a PS4 and you're thinking about getting one, that's a game that should drive you towards getting one because there's not a thing about that game that isn't spectacular. It's a really good game.
Absolutely. Sam, do you want to add your thoughts on Horizon Zero Dawn?
I mean, yeah. So speaking as a self-professed Witcher fanboy, there are a lot of similarities to The Witcher in the design of the world.
not just a self-professed, but the Witcher fanboy.
Oh, I've got the title now? Yay.
Yeah,
awesome.
The Witcher fanboy.
Nice. Thanks. But seriously, and it probably has something to do with the fact that a couple of CD Projekt Red's writers were hired by Guerrilla Games for this. But the lore and just the design of the world.
Like that. It's like, this game's only so good because there was a Witcher influence. Anyway, you continue.
Oh, no, please, go on.
No, you've got this. Tell me all about how Horizon's great because of The Witcher. No, I'm joking. Please.
Because of the way the lore is designed and the quests. There are some fetch quests, don't get me wrong, but I think the vast majority of the quests have actually been very meaningful. Some people, stole some medicine, but they had very good reasons for stealing the medicine, or someone's brother, is in trouble and he has some sort of illness and no one can really tell what's going on with them. And a lot of it tends to tie back, I don't know if anyone who's played it has noticed this, into the main quest. Depending on where you are in the quest, in the main story, Aloy will make comments based off of things she's encountered in the side quest as well, and back and forth and back and forth.
Yes,
it's not like a static feeling. It's not like how in some games the side quest are one linear progression and the main story is another linear progression, and they're just in a V shape going away from each other. These two, it's very interwoven. And I like that. I think it really, really, really helps the narrative, and it helps, the player stay immersed.
Absolutely. Is there anybody else who wants to input on HCD before I put my 2 cents in? Nope. Okay. So, so Horizon Zero Dawn, for anybody who's seen my review on it, I actually ended up reviewing it at a 9.5 out of 10. And I did take into consideration a few things that I thought were annoying. The waypoint system it's badly implemented. Actually, you know what? That's that, right? Harsh. It's not badly implemented. It is annoying in the way that it's implemented, but it's easy to get used to, or you can go into the settings and turn it off. So I thought that could have been done better. I've come across my fair share of glitches and bugs in the game, but they're not plentiful. They're quite small.
How far are you into the game? Did you beat it?
Not only have I beat it, but I almost had my platinum.
Okay, I beat the game. And here's one thing I want to know: like, is this a glitch or is this an oversight? Sometimes when big objects get thrown your way and they'll like hit you, or whatever, you jump and you're like but you go towards the object like a magnet, which brings you closer to whatever like boss or enemy that you're fighting. That is weird design to me.
I think it's something
it puts me at a disadvantage because I'm getting closer into the range, and it defies logic and physics.
I think there's something about the hitboxes with projectile attacks that isn't quite implemented as perfectly as it could be. Because I noticed that
it draws you closer to the impact.
Some of the flying enemies I've noticed,
it's the weirdest thing.
I swear that their attacks are curving at the last moment, and that you can't dodge them properly.
Yeah. There's a little. I don't think those are glitches. I legitimately think that's just how they worked it, because I've talked to other people and it's a common thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, maybe that's just how it's just how it is.
Yeah, it's a mechanic of the game that could have been done
Gravity's
slightly
weird.
better. When I'm talking about glitches, so I mean when I'm walking up a rock face and all of a sudden I fall within said rock face and now I'm trapped inside the mountain. Or for example, there was a period of time there for about 45 minutes of gameplay that I was in a very heated battle and I was grossly overpowered, so I was dying a lot. And every time I would die, it would come up and say to me, you know, an error has occurred or something, and it would like literally kick me out of the game. So I'd have to reload the game, come back in. I mean, you loaded back in at the exact same campfire you were going to load into anyway, but it was an additional like 45 seconds added to that because of this error thing, which eventually went away, which was lucky. So when I talk about glitches and bugs, that's the kind of thing that I mean that I've encountered.
Okay.
The other thing that kind of like, whilst it isn't a problem, I was just like, all right, you guys have gone to the most extreme lengths to create the most graphically beautiful game that I've ever seen on consoles. But it did not occur to you that if Aloy is running through a river with a lit fire arrow, that the arrow should probably go out when water hits it. I'm like, are these things fire resistant? It was just little things like that.
Not everything is Tomb Raider, Bella. Not everything is Tomb Raider.
Yeah, but I mean, fire is fire, and water on fire creates the same response no matter where you are.
We're talking about a game we're talking about a game with giant, like, robotic fucking creatures that are attacking you and throwing boulders at you. They can get a couple things off every once in a while with some physics.
Maybe it's thermite arrows.
Well, like I said, those weren't major things. Like those, if those are the only gripes that I had, that is why you can see that I only removed like overall from the entire point scoring system a 0.5 for the game, because so many more things that were done right. Like the list of everything that is just amazing about this game. And for anybody who's actually, I mean, Anthony, you may be the only person here that has finished the story and knows the way that they go about. Like, you get to a point where you feel like you're Jon Snow, and that redhead's like, you know nothing, Jon Snow. Like, you get a part way through the story where you think you know where everything's going, and you're just like, okay, I can see what they're doing here. And then the depth of it gets laid out in front of you. Yeah, like you feel like you're in this.
I didn't really
you realize you're just on a tiny island compared to where you actually are. Like this entire thing.
And like the weird thing is, like it's not a game that you really peg for too much of the story. And some of the story is kind of like, you know, familiar, but the way the characters work and the way the environment revolves around your character is very unique. It's very special. Like the environments just look cool. Like genuinely look cool. It's a beautiful game world. I haven't been that impressed with like I remember when because I had a 3D TV back in the day and I had the 3D glasses. And do you guys remember when Avatar the video game came out after the movie? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Now it was a very mediocre video game. Like the controls were terrible, especially flying a helicopter. The controls were just very, very bland and basic, but cool in 3D. Like, well, if you have the glasses, you actually see the world. I was like, this is a pretty trippy world, man. Like this, like the level design was very linear for the type of world that it was, but it just looked really cool. And I haven't been that impressed in a world since really since this game.
Absolutely. I was completely blown away by it, to the point where I felt like the experience that I had gotten from playing through the storyline of that game was so compelling that I felt like I owed it to the game to get my platinum. So instead of moving on to something else now, I'm literally grinding out platinums. I mean, grinding out trophies for my platinum. I mean, today was a slow day. I only got 6 trophies this morning, so but I'm really putting in the groundwork to try and get that plat, because I feel like this game kind of demands that sort of respect, and I'm just utterly excited about where we're going to go from here on, because Guerrilla Games have set a new benchmark for not only graphics in a game, but also the level and density of a storyline and character development, and how all of that should be integrated to work fluently together. That is a new benchmark, and it excites the hell out of me that so many game development studios are going to be looking to Guerrilla Games and what they've created with this game and the Decima engine, and using that as a way to push forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that's Horizon Zero Dawn.
That sums it up.
Yeah. Oh God. All right, so before we move to one of the more fun parts of our podcast, let's quickly just finish off with the new Scorpio hype, and let's keep this short and sweet. Project Scorpio pre-order info page is now live. Who's been and checked it out? Who thinks that? Like, were you just like, oh my God, this is amazing? You're like, this is a website, people. What is all this noise about?
It's actually, it's there's like nothing there right now, but it's a big deal that it's on the store, because they usually only put the store page up very, very shortly before a product goes live for pre-order. Like, I would have, if they're actually revealing the console at E3 like we thought they were, I would have expected this page to go up, maybe a week before E3.
Yeah,
that.
right,
So
right.
I think this is rumor fuel, to say the least. Phil made some comments on IGN Unlocked podcast with Ryan McCaffrey that they weren't sure if they were going to let people get a look at the console before that. And I think them putting this web page up is a sign that they will. That's me, though.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, things like this, they come out for a reason at the time they come out. There is absolutely nothing that a corporation like Microsoft does without thinking it through, doing a bit of background research, having a look at statistics of how this was received, how well is that received, what kind of response are we expecting from this, that, and the other. These are things that are never just done off the cuff.
Well, how do you explain the Kinect?
Well, the Kinect, I actually like the Kinect. The Kinect
Exactly.
unfortunately was not taken up by developers as much as what Microsoft anticipated it would be, and I'm sure they went and did some testing.
It wasn't taken up by
reached out.
people that bought Xboxes as well.
But I love my Kinect.
It's a
I use
Kinect
my
was the
Kinect
first thing I disconnected.
on the 360, and I use my Kinect on the Xbox One. Like, I love my Kinect. And I know that there are a lot of people that don't use it and that think that it's a useless piece of hardware and an addition to the console that really was not necessary. But it all comes down to you as an individual gamer as to what you want to do, how you want to interact with your console. For me,
well, keep in mind how
like
important that Xbox or that Microsoft made the Kinect to sound like at first, right? Like, it sounded like a thing that was essential to having the console, and you needed it. And then on top of that, they tried to just shove it in a bunch of different games, where different games had Kinect mechanics, and they made games that were based solely on the Kinect, and none of them worked out well. I wouldn't have minded it if it was just like a side thing that was optional, but they advertised the hell out of it.
Alien Isolation incorporated the Kinect really, really well.
If
you have Alien Isolation on your Xbox, you need to play it with the Kinect.
Yeah.
The Alien
That's
Beacon.
for the Alien Beacon, right? Yeah.
And you can lean around corners with it, and it actually tracks you extremely well. It is the definitive experience of that game right now. So
yeah.
My kids love the Ubisoft.
Also for that device, because previous to that, what are they were gonna have like I can't remember if they released that Fable game for the Kinect. Did that come out, or am I imagining it came out, or
Kinect that did?
There was, right? Did they cancel it? Or there was, yeah. So there was that, and then there was the last Kinect game that I played that was Kinect eccentric.
Yes, we're
and I stopped
aware
after
that
this
not
for a reason.
a great
It
deal
was,
of games
Steel
came out
Battalion.
for the Kinect. You know, obviously it
don't
wasn't
get
the
me
success
started
that
on
we
Steel
thought it was going
Battalion.
to be. But having said that, I
Well,
think
that-
Christian was trying
even
to say
even
something.
background. There's not much use for it.
Yeah. Christian, what were you trying to say about your kids in Kinect?
Oh, I was just saying they play the is it either Dance Central or Just Dance? They actually my kids were playing it.
I played that. It's great.
Yeah, the kids love it, and I think that the Kinect really, the focus of the Kinect was really about trying to hit that broad consumer, go after the Wii U audience. I think.
Yeah, and the family interaction.
Yeah, that's where it shines. For a hardcore gamer, it's you know, and it had technical issues, you know, as well, you know, with people of different heights, and people in Japan couldn't use it because the apartments were too small, and a lot of that kind of stuff. So
Well, it just wasn't. It wasn't as good as you know that the Wii, like controllers and like equipment, because the Wii was simple and it worked. The motion detection wasn't like 100%, but it was pretty close. With the Kinect, it was hit or miss. It was a lot of miss.
yes,
Right.
yes.
So yeah, they were trying to hit that that audience, but the reason why they failed so hard was because number one, it just wasn't as good, you know, and number two, they tried to put in a lot of things. It just didn't. It's kind of like PlayStation with their 6-axis controls.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Nobody cared. It wasn't this cool thing. Oh, I can steer the control this way. Nobody cared. Nobody gave a crap. We have these two little circular things in your controller. It works just fine. I'm not going to get away from that.
And then, but the thing is, with the 6-axis, they never marketed it as a must-have like Kinect.
No, that was the smart thing they did.
Yeah.
But but that also meant that all the developers forgot about it. What was that one Dragon game that was pretty cool looking that was hindered because it had terrible controls? So much so, because it started with 6 axis. So much so, yeah. Well, was it Panzer? I can't remember. But they had to patch in regular controls when they realized, oh, nobody likes 6-axis controls. Oh, well, let us patch it the regular way then. Oh man, I forgot what game that was, but I had fun for a little bit playing that.
I remember what you're talking about. I can't remember what it was either. It was it's sticking away from me. I can't remember what it's called.
It's not Panzer Dragon. Like it was something. Not Lair. No, it's I can't remember what it was. But they basically
at 3 a.m.
they made a game with 6-axis controls being the front point. Nobody wanted it. Very similar to the games that Microsoft made with Kinect at the front point. And nobody really wanted it. I mean, sure, it has some niches, Just Dance, for example. But how else do you play Just Dance, right? You can't do it in your controller. Of course, it has to be with the Kinect.
Yeah, my kids can't play. My kids hate playing it on the Wii because it's like, why do I have to hold these controllers?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Well, whilst Anthony seems to be on such a roll, I think we might move forward to our debate section of today's podcast.
I forgot the topic. I didn't have any chance to look this up, so I'm just gonna wing this.
This will be an easy one to wing.
That's pretty much what I expected.
Every once in a while, Bella always like emails me. Oh, here's today's itinerary. I never look. I'm just like, okay, we're talking about topics today. Let's go. So I'm excited.
And that's great, and we'll talk about that later. So, moving into today's debate. This is debate number 3, and it's going to be an exciting one because we are talking about the Nintendo Switch's launch and was it not a success? The two people debating today will be evidently Mr. Anthony Ascue and our special guest, Anchorman. You will both have 2 minutes to make your point. Anchorman will be arguing that, yes, the Switch launch was in fact a success. Anthony will be arguing that off the cuff, he feels like it was not. As they make points that are valid, we, as the rest of the panel, will write down how many points we give them. And these points are based off one argument. So one argument, like, yes, that was a great point, they get 1 point. And then at the end of it, we will add up how many points we gave each person. Person with the most points is today's debate winner.
So I'm arguing against the success of the Switch.
I like that you're playing up that you have no idea, but I know that you know exactly what you're doing.
I don't. I heard what you said, but I'm just like, I'm looking at I can Google it. I'm just like, did it do pretty well? It's sold out everywhere. So, okay, let's do this.
All right, you know what? Anchor, why don't you go first? let's let you take the reign on this one, yeah?
All right, so I got 2 minutes.
You got 2 minutes.
You have 2 minutes, and I will give you a countdown.
And they're hardcore about it,
yes,
too.
I will. I will let you know when you have 30 seconds, 10 seconds, and 5 seconds, okay?
All right, got it.
All right, and go.
All right, if we're going to talk about whether or not the Nintendo Switch launch was a success, I think we have to figure out, first of all, what is the qualities of a successful launch. First one, no mass shortages, meaning that you can't have people scouring the streets and eBay looking for a Switch. There has to be enough to meet demand, and then at the same time, yes, if you are successful, you're going to outsell that amount, but it has to be like relatively fair. We're not talking like the Wii here, where it was people are literally fighting children for this thing, and there's only 5 being sent to a Target somewhere near you. We're not talking that one. There's plenty of stock floating around everybody else. There were at least over 50 consoles for whatever place that I've seen in the United States. Second of all, there's no system-destroying hardware malfunction, meaning no red ring of death, consoles aren't exploding, no one's dying. You're not hearing about this really. If there's anything, it's all minimal, like new thing came out. Yeah, there's a couple of problems here and there. Also, hype. Switch gang, anyone? Just looking at the complete amount of hype for this system, you see all 3 of those categories to determine, first of all, a successful launch. So to recap shortly, that's no mass shortages, no system-destroying hardware malfunction, and also the hype is present. On top of that, it's the fastest-selling Nintendo console in the United States, the UK, and Australia as of, I think, yesterday. Also, the Japan actually outsold. It was in the Switch outsold the PS4 in Japan of last month. Also, the games lineup. We're talking quality, man. If you look at just at Legend of Zelda has sold over 70% of all those copies on day one were on the Switch, meaning those sales translate into Switch sales. Also,
10.
you have the whole concept of the rolling lineup, and the thing is practically sells itself. It is demoable
5.
out of the hell. He'll just see the difference. That's it.
Done. Nice.
Boom.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, very good.
Apparently my phone says you're done. All right, excellent. Thank you kindly. We are now going to move over to Anthony Ascue, who is going to tell us why he believes that the launch of the Switch was not a success. Are you ready to go?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And start.
Okay, so I actually disagree that they, undershort. I think they did not undershort stores into like how many units that they were able to sell. Because I tried to buy a Switch day one and it was gone, and it's not because it was gone because they sold out massive units. It's because the GameStops and the Walmarts only had like 4 or 5 consoles to sell that day, and they have to wait an extra 2 weeks to get their extra copies of the consoles. So they were mass shorted across the board here, at least where I'm from. This is a console that released with zero, or not actually zero, but very minimal online capabilities. They're gonna have to patch that in at a later date because they don't have any games that have online capabilities right now. It's Zelda. When you talk about the list of games that it has, the quality list, it began and it ended with Zelda. Everything else is gonna come out next month, and the next big game are Wii U games that they're gonna HD remake, HD for 720 for you Nintendo people, and of course, the Nintendo did well in Japan. That's Nintendo's hometown. Nintendo, if it has a fighting chance, will always do well in Japan. So that's going to be a given. I'll give it that for sure. But in terms of like hype, you know what? I don't really see it. I don't see it as much. I see the commercials. They look nice. They look catchy. I don't see a lot of hardcore gamers clamoring about, oh man, got to have my Switch fixed, because there's no games for it right now. There's just Zelda, and Zelda is not exactly a team experience. It's a single player experience that, while it's a great game, don't get me wrong, it's still a single player experience where you can just play by yourself and you're not really sharing that experience with other people. So it's not like people are buying it so they can play online against each other, because that's not a functionality that it has right now. There's not a lot of breakdowns, but there's not a lot of features to it. There's no Netflix, there's no YouTube, there's no streaming. It's pretty much a bare bones console that you can take out with you on the field and not do anything with. So in terms of the Switch being a success,
Ran into a wall.
Just so it's legit. Just so it's legit. I have it set so you can hear that that's actual 2 minutes. All right, well done.
All right.
Very good, guys. Very good.
Can I have one follow-up question? Very short follow-up question.
Sure.
As a general question, what would you rather have? Would you rather have Killzone Shadowfall and Knack, or Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild?
I'd rather have an Xbox. Boom.
Oh goodness. All right. So as both of these gentlemen were going along, and every valid point that they came out with, we scored them on. I'm sure you've all gone through and added up what points you've given them. So I'm going to start from right to left on my screen. Sam, how many points did you award Anchorman?
I awarded him 6 points.
And how many points did you award Anthony?
I award him 4 points.
Okay. Julius, how many for Anchorman?
I awarded him 3 points and Anthony 4 points.
Okay. Christian, how many for Anchorman?
I gave Anchorman 7.7 points and Anthony 2.5 points.
Okay. And so that leaves mine. I actually scored them both at 7 apiece. Okay, so let's do a little bit of quick math here. 14, 17. Okay. Oh, this is going to record. No, as close as I thought. Okay, so based on the points that everybody has awarded for our participants today, Anthony, you came in with a total of 17 points for a very strong argument. Anchorman, you came in with a total of 26 points for an even stronger, apparently, argument. So well done, gentlemen.
By the way, can I mention?
So hopefully that gives people who are listening a bit of an idea about the pros and the cons that everybody sees about the Switch. And if you're sitting on the fence about, do you really feel like this is something that you want to invest your money in, maybe you can take away from some of the things that we feel was done well with the launch and things that we feel was not done with the launch, and see whether those are things that would actually ultimately affect your choice in purchasing a Switch. So thank you very much, gentlemen. That was very well done.
I will say one thing.
Does anyone have a Switch?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I have no Switch. I wanted to say one thing. I actually do not believe anything I actually said.
But that's the beauty of a debate. The beauty of a debate is being able to take a subject matter and go away and bring actual solid points about a thing, not what you believe, but facts. And facts is what makes up a debate. And that is the beautiful thing about this format, is that it allows for us to have two sides of an opinion that are based on facts, not based on people's personal preferences.
Yeah.
Well, I want to go on the record and say I believed on everything that I said.
And that's fine too.
See, the thing is, I think it is way too early, really, to determine if it's a success. I mean, it's only been out 2 weeks.
Yeah, what defines a
2
launch
weeks,
window,
and realistically, and they did undershort a lot of stores, right? So who knows? Like I want it to be a success. I really do. Anyone that knows me knows my love-hate relationship with Nintendo, primarily hate. But I want this to be a success because it does look cool. It really does. I don't know a lot about it in terms of the specs. I haven't done my research. I tried to buy it. I made the effort. I couldn't find one. I know it has. Is it 25 gigs of memory? That's the hard drive for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Well,
how much are the games? Yeah. Well, how big are the games?
I think the one thing about it though is if we're going to talk about the 25 gigabyte hard drive, I don't think you actually have to install anything. So it's like, oh well.
I know you don't know if it's if it's ported, but do you have to install if you're playing it on the go?
No, because it's a cartridge. That's in there.
You have to have it you have to have the updates and stuff done. So you have to have it in connected.
There has to be some sort of an update. Like you have to install something, don't you?
No,
if you're playing a portable.
No, it's literally plug it and play kind of deal. It's like how things used to
It's just like back in the 360 era or before that, where you just pop it in and it works. That is one thing to say for it.
So like the 25 gigabyte thing is like, yeah, if we had to install every game like we have to now with the other consoles, yeah, that would be a big deal. And even then,
that'll be a deal breaker.
So that's cool. But.
Well, the only point that I would like to make about this subject matter is to draw back to a question that Anthony asked, and he asked, who here has a Switch, or does anybody here have a Switch? If you ask that question a week or two after the release of the PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, pretty much everybody would have been like, yeah, I got one. How many people said they got a Switch?
Yeah, my thing is I just don't really know what it's for. I mean, I've seen a few of my friends on Facebook, get it, and they're like, "Oh, cool! I could go lay down in bed and play it." And it's like, I have a phone. I don't really get that.
Where would you optimally play the Switch for its portable? Not for its dock. When you dock it on your TV, I get that. That's a console. But where would you actually take it out to play Zelda Breath of the Wild? Are you going to be that Switch commercial where a bunch of friends are having a party and they're like, "Hey, you over there across the street, one of our friends, come on over," and you're going to go over to that party and bring your Switch and play Switch while everyone else is enjoying the party? Are you going to be that person? Does that person exist? I would not invite that person to any party.
90%.
If we're having a social function and you come over with the Switch to play Zelda, not even a multiplayer, but freaking Zelda, get the heck out of my party, you douche.
You can watch me. You can watch me play Zelda.
Actually, the funny thing about that though is, when I went to E3 last year, I was dying because I couldn't bring my Xbox with me. I was like, well, shit, like I don't have room, I don't have the space for it, and I was dying. I need to play something. I was so desperate.
That's what Snake is for.
9 on my phone.
At E3 they have these things where you can go on the floor and play games.
Yeah, I know, but I meant more like in not the convention hall, but it's when we were doing travel time and such. Like, I'm on the airplane. It's like, oh, I'm dying here. I need something to play.
Yeah. Well, I guess the Switch does fill that gap, but is it something that was necessary in
what's the life expectancy? It's like 3 hours. Like how big of a gap is it really going to fill for you? Is it just when you're traveling, short bursts? Because it's not like it launched with the game that's recognizable, or you can play for 5 to 6 minutes here or there. It's freaking Zelda. It's a long game. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a mobile phone game like Mobile Strike where you can just I'm just gonna advance my troops here and that's it. That killed 3 minutes for me. I was happy. I got my gaming fix. This is Zelda we're talking about, right? Like it didn't really launch with the game that could really take full use of its functionality.
I guess some of the smaller indie games, I mean, I've had a look into quite a few of them, and some of them do fill that gap, but they don't fill them the way that I guess a lot of us who are gamers on more consoles like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, those kind of indie
Nintendo Switch is a $400 console. $500 if you buy Zelda. So basically, it's a $500 console. I'm not going to pay $500 for a console and then buy a bunch of like $12 indie games.
Yeah,
I'm going to buy games.
Completely agree. I was wishing for a slightly bigger lineup of games to be released, but unfortunately, we haven't seen that yet. But however, that doesn't mean that with E3 just around the corner. I know Nintendo don't do their own thing. They don't do their thing at E3. They do their own separate thing. But that doesn't mean that they're not saving some of these really big titles and features and functionality for announcement at E3, which would make sense because it's literally just around the corner. So we might have
they're patching in a lot of stuff. Yeah, well, for sure there's going to be. It's not like they're done. They're going to patch in the online capabilities and all that stuff. I'm sure you're going to have Netflix and all of that stuff there. I don't know why you would want Netflix on there. You've got a life expectancy of maybe 4 or 5 hours tops on it. You can wait to go home to watch Netflix. But if you wanted it there, it's going to be there. It's an option for you. There's going to be new games. My only issue with it right now, of course, I'm always for options. My only issue with it right now is that, again, it's a $500 console if you buy Zelda, which you're going to. So it's a $500 console. And then the next big game that's coming out for it is a Wii U remake. I can't even call it an HD remake because it's not even really HD. It's just a Wii U game that you can now play here, which is Mario Kart, right? Like they didn't really hit with a whole bunch of like exciting Nintendo Switch exclusives aside from Splatoon 2. You know what I mean? Like there's kind of a lull in that. I'm excited to play Mario Kart on the go. I think that would be pretty cool. I've always loved Mario Kart, but for $500 friggin' dollars, I kind of want to see some stability here and some games that make me go, okay, this is worth my $500.
Yep, fair enough. That is.
I think
all fair call.
If I can just inject my 10 seconds. I think all this, from the game's lineup to the issues that will get patched to the lack of online features, points to this thing being rushed out for Zelda.
Yeah, 100%. Zelda was ready. Zelda's been ready for a long time. The console itself doesn't have a lot of launch to it. That's why it had to have those those indie games are tech demos. Let's all be honest here. Those a lot of them aren't full-fledged games that developers spent like tons and tons and tons of hours on. Those were games that they needed to have, so their console didn't just only have friggin' Zelda. They had to have something, especially people that aren't going to buy Zelda, that they couldn't afford it, which is terrible. Like there should have been a bundle. Instead, no, you're paying $500 for a console with no online capabilities as of now, and Zelda, a single-player experience, which is great. It's a great game, but it's still $500 for just a single-player experience.
Surprised they didn't just bundle Zelda with the console and make it $450.
They should have. Yeah. I don't know why they didn't. It's mind-boggling. Like, you have to pay extra for Zelda, and I'm like, so if I buy this console and I don't have enough money for Zelda, I'm just paying for this console and that's it. And basically half of the functions that they're promoting about this console are now void because it's friggin' Zelda.
Now, see, these are the types of arguments that you should have been making during your debate.
I did.
Some of them. But before
I didn't have time to throw them out there, but I threw them out there. It came with Zelda only. There was no online functionality, and all the features that it was hyping are moot point because it's Zelda.
Yes,
I believe the middle's in the debate.
Zelda was the big selling point.
Could you I would have felt more comfortable if I think overall the Switch would have been considered more of a success if it launched with Zelda and Mario Kart. Mario Kart comes out the following month. Why couldn't you just wait one more friggin' month and launch with 2 games? One game you could have sold for your regular price Zelda, and another game. Zelda. It doesn't matter. You would have had 2. You would have 2 games. Yeah, we would have one game at the regular price point. And you would have had Mario Kart for a cheaper price point because it's considered a remake, right? So you would have at least, or you could have bundled the Switch with Mario Kart and then Zelda's the premium game. Right? It would have been a stronger launch. And you would have had a game that's worthy of going out and actually going to parties with. Because it's a multiplayer game.
Well,
which is the whole point of that system.
Yes, and I appreciate where you're coming from, but I feel like we're delving into what could be an entire podcast on its own. So before we turn this into nothing but a Switch podcast, I think we're going to put that on the agenda for a Nintendo-related podcast down the track and move ourselves right along. So before we wrap up tonight, we have, and we always do this very briefly, this is something that is just a real quick conversation and spoiler-free for anybody who hasn't had a chance to see it yet. This is our Netflix and Chill segment, which also involves, various different TV shows and movies that relate back to video games. Box office numbers, Logan absolutely smashing the charts. Who's seen it? Anyone here seen it yet?
Yep, I saw it.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
yep.
Fucking brilliant.
Amazing. Yep.
I haven't
not
seen it
heard
yet.
any bad feedback.
Grab your Kleenex.
There's a couple minor critiques that I have of it.
You should grab your Kleenex.
Yeah, for the feels, not for that.
I'm about to say, every time your Jack is on screen, I always grab my Kleenex.
No.
No.
This is a family-orientated podcast. Moving along.
No, it was like I said, I had a couple minor quips with it, but overall it was well executed and just a great movie, great theme, great acting by the girl. She was awesome.
Funny you say executed.
Yes. I didn't get tired of
that as a secret spoiler.
Yeah, it did kind of feel like at some point, like when they were still in the script phase, someone came back and said, "Hey, we got the R. We don't have to be PG-13." So they just went and wrote "fuck" like 10,000 times, like in every line.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Got a little old.
Yeah, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So for all of the people that have seen it, then you just get glowing reports, great movie. People should just go and watch it, yeah?
Absolutely.
I will say though, with that movie, is do not go into it expecting a summer action flick kind of thing. Not that kind of movie.
It didn't look that way in the trailers.
It
It looked very Last of Us-ish.
You're gonna think that because it's Wolverine. Clearly, it's going to be a bunch of slashing and killing, and it's going to be a big action thing. And it's also not for your kids.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Don't bring your kids.
Please
I
don't.
saw kids in the theater. I was like, oh my god, like 10-year-olds. I was like, oh my god.
Who's going to bring their kids to see a movie about a guy that has like metal claws leak out of his hands?
Mm.
Well, the same thing happened with
That's
Deadpool.
not something kid friendly about at all.
There's a bunch of people that wrote negative reviews about Deadpool because they brought like their 12-year-old and they were horrified. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I have negative reviews about those parents.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a Marvel movie, so it should be fine.
Wow, that is insane. Yeah, people, please be responsible when you're deciding about the age group of people you're going to take to see adult movies with. So Game of Thrones Season 7, for all the Game of Thrones fans out there, the premiere date has been unveiled. I know that anybody who loves Game of Thrones literally counts down the days. Do we have any big Game of Thrones fans here?
Yeah,
I was a Song of Ice and Fire
I'm
fan.
so behind.
I'm the hipster. I read the books before the TV show.
But
But yes, I love the show too. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Game of Thrones as well.
Now, see, I'm the hipster because I don't watch it.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Turn in that hipster card, Sam.
Yeah,
That makes
I'm
two of
burning
us.
it right now.
Yeah, see, for anybody who's playing Horizon Zero Dawn that is a big fan of Game of Thrones, you kind of almost get the feel that you're in a Game of Thrones kind of universe with the way that they've laid out the land. But anyway, not to draw the attention back to Horizon, let's keep it on Game of Thrones. So that is coming out very, very soon. If you want to find out more details about that, go onto the Real Game Media website. We have an article up there with all the details about the premiere date and some stuff that you may not have heard yet about it. Moving on to The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 12. Who's seen it?
God,
I have.
Oh,
I'm also behind.
Is this supposed to be spoilers free, right?
Yes.
This spoilers
Um,
free.
Well, spoiler: worst deer ever in TV ever done.
The CGI on that deer was bad. Yes.
What
That's-
the hell? It was like, what is this deer
bad.
thing?
But
but-
the deer aside, I thought it was a good episode without getting into spoilers.
I think for me it was a little mixed. I like that it kind of went back to some of the tone of the earlier stuff, just with what they were doing. I like that they tried to advance the characters a little bit. It kind of got a little hokey here and there, little hokiness, and trying to pull the fast one over on you over the that scene. Yeah,
Spoilers.
yeah.
So all in
Spoilers,
all,
the deer is awful.
everybody's liking the way that the season's unfolding so far, though. Highly recommend people who haven't delved into it yet should jump in now. Or would you say to them, don't jump into where it is now. Don't try and follow it from here. Go to the beginning of the season, or better yet, spend another 6 months in no sunlight and start from season 1.
6 months? What
I
are you
think-
talking about? Give
How
me
much
1 month.
free time you think I got to
No,
watch
give me a
this
week.
stuff?
No, I think you got to start. I think you need to have the full season in, because I think one of the reasons that this episode was refreshing is because it just went in a different tonal direction than we've been having. So it's kind of like
Agreed.
a breath of fresh air.
Nice, awesome. All right, so there you go, people. If you're not watching Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead, now is a good a time as any to jump into it, apparently. And yes, go to Logan. Just don't take your 10-year-old son or daughter. All right, so before we wrap up, I'm going to quickly open up the floor to anybody in the chat section that has any questions about the subject matters that we've discussed today or anything gaming related at all, whilst we do a round table of what grinds my gears. Now, I know that you all read the agenda, and I know that you all know that we're going to wrap up with this, which means you all have something that grinds your gears ready to go. So having said that, Julius, I'm going to put you under the spotlight. You're going to start today. What grinds your gears this week?
What grinds my gears is you razzing me over playing the Division all the time.
Whoa!
Good. Maybe you'll play a game made this goddamn decade.
Hey, I also did play Ghost Recon Wildlands.
The beta.
Well, yeah, but I still play the game. I have every intention of buying
Burn the beta.
I'm just gonna go back into my hole now. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sam, what's grinding your gears this fortnight?
What grinds my gears is people who complain about people who complain. And it may sound that I am complaining about people as well, adding another chain in this.
You're complaining about people complaining about people complaining by complaining? Okay.
Yes, but hold on. Let me make my point, though. Okay, bear with me here. We all hate idiots on Twitter and on the internet. Yes, that's fine. We get that. There's a bunch of fools out there, a bunch of people who are spouting nonsense. Sometimes they need to be called out on it. But if you are spending more time mocking people and calling them out for things they've done than actually accomplishing anything positive yourself, you're sinking down to their level. And you're not actually making it fun for other people to be around you. You're not spreading anything positive into our industry, into our communities.
Indeed.
That's what's grinding my gears right now.
Fair enough.
Eat, man.
Very well.
Eat.
Yep. No, that's true.
Indeed. Christian, what's been grinding your gears this fortnight?
Well, what's been grinding my gears is the inventory supply system in Fallout Shelter. It is a slot in the inventory system is taken up the same amount by a spool of yarn or a fat boy nuclear missile launcher. And every time my people come back, I have to go and choose, like, what do I want to... I guess I'll just sell off all of my teddy bears so that I have room to get all these assault rifles. It's like, when they added the parts system, just have a separate inventory system or don't have that crap count. Like, I mean, right. I get it. If I have 10,000 things of yarn, yeah, that's going to fill up a room. But the same amount that an axe or a machine gun takes up is as a friggin' mirror. It's like, come on, give me a break. Every time I'm selling off crap, and it's just in the system for selling off that crap. It's like by the time you need to sell it off, you have 150 items. So either I have to sell them all, or I have to like sit there and click it 300 times to get it halfway done. So yeah,
just like in the original Age of Empires, right? You can have a transport ship of 6 spearmen, or you could have a transport ship of 6 war elephants. But don't you dare have a transport ship of 6 war elephants and 1 spearman. Cut it out.
Exactly.
Oh God, that was great. That was great. Anchorman, what has been grinding your gears these past 2 weeks?
Well, Sam took mine, so I'm going to go with another one. Telltale Games. Your entire studio, your entire operation, everything.
Oh, wow.
Do something new. Please, dear God. Telltale, I want you to be good. You do great storytelling. You do an excellent job at delivering a story. It is enjoyable to watch, but that's it. It's not fun to play anymore. You do all this stuff, and I guess the thing that really pisses me off the most is that you always latch on to these big franchises. You're doing Guardians of the Galaxy next. You had Game of Thrones. You had Walking Dead. You had Wolf Among Us, which is arguably a smaller comic title, and I will give you that one. You have Batman currently. You have Minecraft. Jeez, make your own IP, please.
And I think, it's telling out of that the Wolf Among Us was the best one.
Now, even if the game is bad, I will still buy it if you try something different, to a completely different game style. Because it comes off to me as we're doing copy-paste here, we're doing just a little bit of an aesthetic change here and there, that's it. And we're just making a story, and we're slapping on the gameplay, done. I'm like, just try something different. It's like you're the anti-Gearbox, where Gearbox keeps wanting to try new things, and everyone's like, go make Borderlands 3. You don't really give a shit what you gotta make up. No, go make Borderlands 3. Like, but guys, we have Battleborn. We have all this stuff we're working on. And it's like, no. Go make Borderlands 3. And it's the opposite with Telltale. They make the same thing over and over and over again. And everyone's like, yay, keep doing this forever. And it's like, no, please do something different. Please. I just want to see you grow as a studio. Just try something different.
Oh, goodness. Okay, thank you for that, Anchor. Anthony, what is grinding your gears about? I'm going to go ahead and guess it has something to do with Gwent.
It has nothing to do with Gwent. I am very pleasant with Gwent. I'm very good at it. My deck is ridiculous.
So
come
what
at
is
me.
grinding your gears?
No, like recently, honestly, Randy Pitchford and Gearbox have been kind of grinding my gears a little bit. The more I kind of see him on Twitter, and the more I kind of hear him do interviews, whatnot, like it just kind of like makes me think like this is a guy that's been criticized for putting out some pretty bad games, and not games that he's made personally or even like personally developed, but just some of the stuff that he's published or had a small touch in. Obviously, Duke Nukem, Aliens, and he's a guy that to me, I don't think he can take criticism. Like I don't think he realizes those are not good games, and he's still under the impression that it wasn't us, right, guys? Like there's a fan base out there for those games. It's delusional, and Battleborn is kind of like, I feel bad for Battleborn because Battleborn is actually a decent game. It's actually a good game, and it unfortunately made the colossal mistake of launching next to Overwatch, which is a gigantic, colossal game itself, right? So it made the mistake of doing that, and I feel bad watching that game kind of suffer. But I'm looking at the game, and I'm looking at Pitchford kind of like still promote the game and pitch it, and listening him to do that, or listening him promote the game, kind of makes me realize, man, like this guy is just like, he's either the most delusional person out there right now, or he genuinely doesn't understand what colossal failure actually is. And it's sad that it had to be Battleborn that had to get that rank because it's actually a good game, but it is not where it needs to be. And every time I see it, I'm just like, at this point, you probably should just be a free-to-play game. And it kind of upsets me that it's not. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm being too harsh on it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, what's grinding my gears this week is my internet. I don't understand what it is that's going wrong with my internet at the moment, but it's like I'm using a goddamn potato. It's taking me 3 to 4 days to install a 40 gig game. This isn't acceptable. I'm like losing my mind coming home from work. I'm like, all right, please be done. Please be done. 72%? Are you kidding me? So it is just driving me nuts because there are so many games on Sony coming out exclusive-wise on Sony at the moment, and I can't keep up on the installs. It's insane. First world problems, I know, but yeah, my internet, it really needs to step it up because this is not good enough. So that's what's been grinding my gears.
Potatoes?
Pardon?
Would you like me to ship you some new potatoes to help your internet?
It'll probably get here faster than my game install. All right,
I didn't even know they had internet in Australia.
Oh.
Like GTA.
Yeah, but it's like I didn't know that America actually had freedom. They prepare when it does.
Oh, no.
So on that note, we actually have had a question put into the chat section by Dean, who has asked, what does everybody think about the Scorpio price point and what will it be?
I think it's going to be tiered. I think there's going to be 2 versions of it when it comes out.
Oh.
I keep thinking about it, and I keep thinking about it, and I keep thinking about it, and
it makes sense. It makes sense for it to be tiered.
Yeah, I think,
tiered on performance or tiered on storage?
Storage.
Maybe not performance so much as like there's going to be a cheaper model, and there's going to be a more expensive model. It's tiered in that regard, and I keep thinking they're going to go out and do $399. I don't know what they'll do to cut down that price, but I feel like they're going to do $399.
Yeah,
I think that's the whole thing with Phil Spencer I think with Phil Spencer saying it's going to be it's under promise over deliver, and saying premium over and over and over again. It's getting your expectations for a high price, dash them.
It's like, you're not hearing the right word here. You're hearing Scorpio. I want you to hear premium.
What's up with $399 being like the standard price nowadays for everything? Holy smokes!
I think it's a safe point. Though.
Like, a different number now. Like, is that the standard? That's the default. That's the industry default now for new and exciting things. $399.
I think so, because they've obviously done a lot of research and looked at the sales numbers on consoles that have come out in the years and how they've been priced to see what number of people are able to fork out X amount versus Y amount of dollars. And obviously that $3.99 point is somewhere that they feel like is going to be the most selling console at that price. If they put it a little bit higher, they're going to lose out on too many sales. They put it a little bit lower, then they're selling under cost. So I think that $3.99 seems to be the benchmark at the moment.
Yeah, it seems to be the industry standard is like $3.99. I want to know where they came up with that decision. It's just weird seeing like that being for new things $3.99 when we're still, you know, at the peak of this generation. We haven't even reached it really yet. These are still new consoles, and you know you can get a friggin' Xbox and a PS4 for $2.99. So what is this new console that you have that's going to top what's already on the market? That's number one in the market, number one and number two respectively.
Yeah, you know that's a good point, and it is. It's an interesting thing for another company to ask you to fork out that kind of money for an experience that they've already shown isn't going to be the same quality hardware-wise, and doesn't have a great lineup of games to support it as well. But that doesn't mean that isn't going to change in the near future. So, but anyway, thank you for that question, Dean. That was a good question. And we are done for the night. We have covered all of our segments. I think we'll do a quick little outro, let everybody do their thing. We might start with Anchorman, so you can tell us about the Tick Podcast and where we can catch you live.
All right. For those of you watching, my name is Anchorman. You can find me on Twitter at AnchormanV2. I'm the creative director for the Inner Circle Network. If you want to find us on YouTube, that's ticgn.com. On YouTube, that is the Inner Circle Network. You guys can go and find us on there, and we do a lot of good shows. On Mondays, I actually host the Multiverse Podcast live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about games, comics, movies, whatever. It's just more like just a big party chat.
Nice.
Fun.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Anthony Ascue.
Yep. I don't really do a lot. I work and I play Gwent. So
What's the difference?
I guess if you hang out at enough bars and you happen to have your Gwent cards, you can lay them down. But other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, keep your eye out for the guy in the shady corner smoking a cigar, drinking from a big goblet, playing Gwent. That's Anthony. Mr. Christian Allen.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at Serellan. If you Google my name, that should come up. And if you want to check out some of my games, you can go to Serellan.com. You can play a virtual reality blind game or a tactical shooter. But yeah, check me out on Twitter. That's where I mainly interact with people. My Facebook's all closed and stuff, so I'm not going to be your friend.
But seriously, like the next one of you that sends us another message saying, please start producing Takedown again, I am going to hunt you down. We're into like 3,000 messages in the last couple of weeks. My phone's just been like, bzz, bzz, bzz.
Yes.
I'm like, Takedown's dead. Deal with it.
But if you want to go buy Epsilon, that'll support me. That'll help me. But yeah, Takedown came out 3 years ago, so I can't keep making content for a game that was published by someone else 3 years ago.
Yeah, not even a part of Serellan anymore. So there is that. But the support that if there is anybody listening out there that has actually been a part of this big bandwagon that's been started in Italy and surrounding regions to try and get Takedown back into development again, your support is very appreciated. And we think that you would love Epsilon just as much, if not more, as Takedown. So please go check it out. It's in early access on Steam at the moment. It's only going to cost you $7.99 for an amazing tactical shooter experience.
Yeah, definitely. And appreciate all the support from Italy. It was a little rough when I got 3,000 emails in one night.
Yeah, it was a little rough for the people that I worked with the next day. They're like, why have you got such big bags on your ass? I'm like, don't even talk to me. Digital Syrup, aka Julius Malco.
Yes, you can reach me on Twitter at Digital Syrup. As well, I man the RGM account at Real Game Media on Twitter from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then I hand it over to Bella at 5 p.m. for the night shift.
Which is my day shift.
Which is awesome.
Which is why it works.
Exactly. Exactly. Sam.
Hey, so if you like, hearing me talk about games or the industry or just chit chat in general, you can follow me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. And then I'm of course a senior writer and editor for Real Game Media, and I put up the news, new content, video game reviews, and opinion pieces pretty much every single day, and certainly every week. So come check us out.
Indeed, indeed. So thank you to everybody who's taken out the time to be on the panel today. We really, really appreciate all of your input. Particularly, Ranko, it's really nice to have you on here for the first time. We hope to have you back again in the future.
We'll see if we can make it work out.
Indeed, indeed. And to everybody who's taken the time out of their day to join us live in the chat section, your interaction is always welcome. It's so lovely to see how well you get along and how polite you are to each other, and that everybody is just here to share their love of video games, which is really refreshing. To anyone who listens to this in the future, we really appreciate your support as well. Go back and check out some of our previous debates, because as we move forward, we are going to end up having a system where the top 4 that have won will battle it out. We'll have 2 that'll battle out in the grand final. So it's actually going to be really quite entertaining. So get yourself up to date on the previous debates so that you know who your favorite is that you're going to be rooting for in the grand final, which will be happening very soon in the near future. But for the time being, this has been another Real Game Media